Imagine walking into a crowded, popular bar in the middle of a busy city, surrounded by security cameras and dozens of witnesses, and then simply ceasing to exist without ever leaving the building. On the night of March 31st, 2006, a handsome, 27-year-old medical student named Brian Shaffer went out to celebrate the beginning of spring break with his close friends in Columbus, Ohio. Brian was a brilliant young man who had a bright future ahead of him, but he was also grieving the deeply tragic loss of his mother, who had passed away from cancer just 3 weeks prior to this night. To clear his mind, Brian and his friends decided to go to a popular second-story bar called the Ugly Tuna Saloon, which was located inside a modern commercial complex. The only way for customers to enter or exit this bar was by taking a single prominent escalator that led directly to the main entrance, which was heavily monitored by a high-definition security camera that recorded every single person 24 hours a day. At around 1:55 a.m., just minutes before the bar was scheduled to close for the night, the security camera clearly captured Brian standing just outside the bar's entrance, laughing and casually chatting with 2 young women. After a brief conversation, Brian said goodbye, turned around, and walked back inside the bar, presumably to find his friends or grab his jacket. That exact moment was the last time anyone on Earth would ever see Brian Shaffer alive, as he seemingly vanished into thin air. When the bar finally closed at 2 a.m., his friends waited outside by the escalator for a very long time, but as the crowd thinned out and the lights turned off, Brian never appeared. They assumed he had simply walked home alone or stayed with someone else. But when he completely missed his scheduled flight to Miami with his girlfriend the next morning, his family immediately panicked and notified the police. The Columbus Police Department launched a massive, unprecedented investigation, completely confident that they would easily find Brian on the security footage. Investigators spent hundreds of agonizing hours meticulously reviewing every single frame of video from that night, counting and identifying every single person who went up and down the escalator. They successfully captured Brian walking into the bar, but to their absolute horror and disbelief, they never saw him walk out. The security system recorded all 150 people who left the bar at closing time, and detectives checked their identities one by one, but Brian was nowhere to be found. The building was completely sealed. The only other exit was an emergency door used strictly by construction workers that led into a dangerous, unfinished construction zone, but police dogs could not track his scent there, and the cameras outside that exit showed absolutely zero activity. As the weeks turned into months, the mystery grew exponentially, darker and more disturbing for everyone involved. The police searched the entire city with helicopters, interviewed every employee, and even forced all of Brian's friends and family to take lie detector tests, which everyone passed except for one close friend who suspiciously refused to cooperate with the investigation. The strange details of the case drove investigators to madness. There were absolutely no signs of a struggle inside the bar, no blood, no digital footprint, and Brian's bank accounts and credit cards were never touched again. Then a deeply unsettling phenomenon occurred that shocked the detectives to their core. For months after Brian's disappearance, his girlfriend called his cell phone every single night just to hear his voicemail, but one night in September, the phone suddenly rang 3 times before cutting off, and its GPS signal pinged a cell tower miles away in a completely different town before going permanently dead. The police thoroughly searched that area but found nothing, leaving them to wonder if the phone had suffered a bizarre system glitch, or if someone was secretly holding Brian alive in a hidden location. To this very day, 20 years later, not a single piece of evidence, clothing, or remains has ever been discovered, making Brian Shaffer's disappearance one of the most terrifying, unsolved locked room mysteries in American history. If a person can disappear from inside a heavily guarded room under the gaze of cameras, are any of us truly safe from the shadows? How do you think Brian escaped a fully camera-monitored bar without being seen? Was it a planned disappearance, or did something happen inside the walls? Let me know in the comments.